welcome to Matters Arising. We'll be looking at some issues within the Nigerian political space. Kingsley, you're welcome.
Thank you.
To Matters Arising. Philip.
Thank you for having me this evening.
Welcome to Matters Arising. Yes, a lot of calls across the nation telling certain persons to step aside and allow the younger ones, come out for 2027, especially for the position of president. The call is not only to Asiwaju. We have discussed the express letter that was written by Dr. Baba Ahmed telling Asiwaju to step aside. But there are too many other calls, especially Atiku. Bwala in particular, who worked tirelessly for Atiku in the last election, just in not up to 2 years, is telling Atiku to step aside and not contest. This was somebody he felt was very, very good 2023. And too many other dissenting voices saying Atiku is a spent force, his time is past, and blah, 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 blah. So, Philip, let me hear from you. Bwala calling on Atiku to step aside, not only step aside, but come in to support Asiwaju. What is your take on that?
Well, to a large extent, I agree with Bwala on the call on Atiku to step aside. But I will not agree with him on the point that Atiku should step aside and come in to work with Asiwaju to continue in office. I don't agree with him on that. I agree with him on the first step in the sense that Atiku has become a clog on the wheel of progress of Nigeria. Atiku has made it possible for the APC to continue in governance and bringing bad governance to Nigeria. Because when you look at the antecedents of Atiku, 2019, Atiku ran against Buhari, and it makes the Buhari election easier. Again, in 2023, when it is obvious that it's a turn of the SAT to bring the candidate on both sides to run for the president, it's turn of the SAT to produce the president, Atiku manipulated the system of the PDP and emerged as the flag bearer of the PDP. And that is where the Bwala who is speaking was one of those who stood for him to be president, even though it was obvious to them that it was the turn of the SAT.
Yeah.
And rumors are not just there. Rumors are true to a large extent. It's been rumored that Atiku is trying to, is working tirelessly to run again in 2027. So to me and many other persons, I think Atiku is, there's a word they use in this church, the village people against Nigeria. Because Atiku running in 2027, it is clear and obvious that Tinubu will come back, and the APC trajectory that will be experienced in 2050 will continue. So it is very important that Atiku should step aside and allow a younger generation to come on board. Because they've always said that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. When will they become leaders of tomorrow when men of 80, 81, 70 something are in office? When is the turn of the youth to come? So I agree with Bwala to that extent that Atiku should step aside, and many other persons who have spoken in that vein that Atiku should, in fact, they've said that if the coalition want to succeed, they should not even look at the direction of Atiku at all. I'm adding my voice to that Atiku, if the coalition know what is right for them, they should not even think of Atiku in one second.
Okay, Philip just talked about that any party feeding Atiku is making it easy for Bwala. It's making it easy for Asiwaju. If Bwala is now working for Asiwaju, wouldn't he even want a weak opponent? Or APC working towards where there will be no election at all? Where they won't even have any opponent, where they will say, oh, the whole country is okay, Asiwaju just continue. There's going to be election in 2027. So wouldn't they prefer a weaker candidate? Remember, Buba Galadima called Atiku the weakest faction of PDP.
So I really wonder if Atiku really loves Nigeria. There's what they call patriotism. I remember there was a call on Joe Biden that he should not go for a second term.
Certainly.
Because of the health issues, and all that. And he heeded the call, and he handed over to Kamala. And that's how they all went. Number one, he loved his party. He heeded the call of those in the party. And he stepped aside and he vehemently campaigned for Kamala Harris. But on the side of Atiku has been on the scene for a very long time.
Since 1992.
I mean,
33 years.
Before that time.
I mean, that was the time he contested he contested against Abiola in primaries.
And all that. By this time, he should have, and one of the things that I really don't like about him is that he does as if it's his right.
You know, he has always had people to step down for him.
Yes.
He has always, but I don't think that might be working for him now.
Well, I think the coalition that is coming forth is the one we should talk to more, not the article. The coalition should never think about him coming forth as the head of that coalition. Because,
I don't see,
because what's called Buba Galadima said that El-Rufai is holding forth for Atiku.
I don't think that. Do you believe that? Do you believe that is true?
I will not emphatically dismiss that until. Because there's a statement El-Rufai made. El-Rufai said, we must look at who will win.
Yeah.
Even though it's north and south, we must look at him. That means...
No, he was concentrating more on the south, though.
Well, yes, I agree with you.
Yes.
But he was also still saying that we must look at who is going to win. I don't think that high level place, everybody places Atiku that he's there.
Who are they, everybody? Maybe you.
Well, for example, now
people are calling him to. People are calling for him to step down. You are saying everybody is placing him.
A lot of people having a show for him and inviting him. Atiku 2027. Atiku 2027. It's all about
yes,
this. Do you understand? So we cannot all ignore the fact that there are people still.
Okay, let me get back to you, Philip. When you talk of a formidable candidate, you are going to talk about a candidate who have organic followers. These are emotional followers. You know, Trump said, I'm going to shoot somebody by the street, my voters will still vote for me. You know, Buhari have that kind of followership, and I can authoritatively tell you today, Peter Obi have that kind of followership. But the fraction, whether it's sufficient to win the election, that is another ball game. Okay, do you think Atiku has organic followers?
You know, when he made his statement, he said we should concentrate on talking to those who are forming the coalition more than even thinking about Atiku. That we should send the warning to them. Because Atiku had nothing that is working for him, like you rightly pointed out. If you look at the Nigerian today, there are two persons today that had something going for them that can stand against Tinubu election and we could have hope of success. And these two persons is Goodluck Jonathan, who had just one tenure to spend at Aso Rock that what is going for it that the Northerner will feel comfortable that it will not come and ask for a further tenure. And the other person is Peter Obi, that has that organic follower you mentioned. Because some people will tell you that I am an unapologetic obedience. They don't care what Obi is. They spend their own money to do Obi things. If you say, some people will tell you it's neither Obi or no 2027. It's everywhere, in the town and everywhere. So Atiku, where do you have it? Atiku is the one trying to make himself popular. Like we have said it on this table. Atiku is putting up oversized clothes, oversized shoe, and he's never there. You know. So Atiku shouldn't be in the picture. I think our focus should be on the coalition. Coalition, please and please, if you want Nigeria to succeed, if you really love Nigeria as you are portraying, that you want to redeem this country, you want to salvage this country, you want to rescue this country, you want to save this country, never ever think of Atiku as one of your candidates or your leaders.
Okay, the attraction on Atiku might not be there. But again, you are not going to go to people's houses to force them to contest. Let me put it this way. If you have a northern coalition already on ground, and for some reason, maybe for some reasons, let me say Obi's kind of arrangement couldn't work with it, they are not going to throw their block vote away. There must be election. Do you understand? If Atiku approaches them, under what basis would they say, oh, we can't work with you? Is it because of fundraising, or nobody want to invest in Atiku anymore, or age difference? Because obviously Atiku is a lot older than Asiwaju. Asiwaju is just 73 years, and Atiku is. Why you laugh? Why? Our president is just.
I wish
our president can contest confidently for the next. He's just 73 years. How old was Joe Biden? How old is Trump?
Please, can we get serious?
Of course. I don't understand you this one.
Because you're cracking me up when I'm not supposed to be cracking me up.
All right.
Okay, all right. Our president is a young man. Maybe we should not talk about our president.
let's talk about the coalition.
Let's talk about
Okay, who do you think is...
We know that our president is very young.
Yes.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yes.
Let's talk about Atiku.
But Atiku is older than our president. All right, so as we see it, if the northern part of the country
we're able to get their acts together,
and wants to have a block vote.
That's right.
And said, Atiku, we're not going to give you this block vote. Now, they are the one that decide who gets a block vote.
That's right.
Now, Arewa Constitutional Forum is already there. Baba Ahmed has spoken, and he has told us it's not about North and South, it's not about Christian and Muslim, it's about the Nigerian that we all are and nobody's getting out of here. We are all Nigerians. Now, Atiku can decide to choose any political party, which I guess, even if the coalition doesn't give him a ticket to run, I can tell you, except I'm wrong, or he proves me wrong, Atiku is going to get a party to run under.
Okay, you're talking of a party to run under. Buba Galadimawa said something. He said Atiku can even nominate person. He said, worst case, even your son is in Nigeria. He just, a kind of, he just being metaphorical. You see, what is wrong in Atiku paraded a sentiment in 2023 that, if PDP could zone their presidency to the southeast, that he was ready, to stand by and support the candidate, knowing maybe PDP was not going to do that. Now, Obi was his running mate in 2019. Obi took the bull by the horn. I remember that 2023 when, I think it was even late 2022, when young men were protesting around Abuja, give us Obi, PDP, give us Obi, PDP, give us, and PDP could not give them Obi. Obi didn't even wait for that primary to hold. Obi now pulled out. In 2023, Obi established himself as a force in Nigerian political space. If that statement was sincere, that Atiku had wanted somebody from Northeast to come, shouldn't Atiku be everywhere right now supporting Obi?
You see, before I come to the question you asked, in his opening speech, he just said that in the United States of America, the Democrats, Biden was the sitting president. By their rules, he has automatic ticket. But with the prevailing circumstances, considering his health and age, the Democrats prevailed on him that, look, you cannot face Trump with this, your health and all of that. Because after the first debate, they realized that they've lost if they continue with Biden. Biden he not only heeded the advice, he handed over to his deputy. And that brings me to what the question you asked. Obi was Atiku running mate in 2019, and they did very well. And all the battles were fought by Obi. Go and check the record.
Yes.
So what is wrong? Taking, president for what Galadima said. What is wrong from Atiku who say that, look, Obi, you have done very well as a deputy. I'm standing by you 2027. I'm getting older, and people don't want me anymore. But I can see that you are loved. There's nothing stop Atiku from doing that. To tell you from all sincerity that Atiku never meant what he said in 2022 that, if PDP zone, the slot to Southeast, he will not contest. He deliberately manipulated the system that the zone didn't go to the east. Yes, today we may blame Wike and all of that. Who was you working for? He was Atiku, main man, and he midwifed the zoning. He picks the people that went for the zoning to zone that, the presidency is zoned to South.
Yeah.
So Obi, being a smart man, he saw the handwriting and he left because you do not have the kind of money back they have.
Yeah, to
and
throw
also,
on
and also know that Atiku knows how to manipulate people to step down.
Yes.
So he quickly left.
And that step down, method may not really work for him.
So, in agree with you, Atiku, if you want to write his name in gold from today, from this very moment, is to start working for Peter Obi for 2027.
Okay, Atiku contested against Buhari. Do you know that even up till now, we still have this, do I call it unresolved fracas, or not necessarily fracas, unresolved directions, or unresolved unified directions from Buhari followers? You know, some wanting to remain in APC to support Asiwaju, and there's some trying to make some moves that you might say, oh, for example, Malami, there was a public tweet from Malami yesterday. Was it not yesterday?
Yeah, it was.
Saying he visited El-Rufai. You know, these days when you mention El-Rufai, forget it. The ruling government they are jittery. They will tell you discard El-Rufai, but it's not true. It's not true. They are jittery. That is the honest truth. Okay, but we'll get to that later. So these Buhari followers, can somebody say, oh, they are just pitching tent with Tinubu for a while and might leave him at a dying minute, or they will all remain with APC? Because they say their loyalty to Buhari is also loyalty to APC.
Okay, I want to start on a different note. Okay. First of all, I want to look at Buhari.
Yeah.
Anybody associating with Buhari right now should have been ashamed.
Okay.
Because he brought Nigeria to this, him and all his cohorts brought Nigeria economy to this present situation that we have.
But you think his performances are worse than Asiwaju's performances?
No. For example, where Asiwaju took off from, it was already, we're already in a bad state.
But you think his government was, so far his first 2 years, no, if I give you his first 2 years and Asiwaju's first 2 years, yes, bearing mind where it started from.
Yes.
No doubt about that.
You see,
do you think
that, let me just help you. The truth is that there's no difference between Buhari and Asiwaju. They're APC.
They're APC.
So that's how the way the light I wanted to see it from.
Exactly. Okay. Do you understand? Buhari brought us in.
So Asiwaju continued from where
Buhari stopped.
But that was what he told us.
Exactly, in campaign.
Because if he said,
he didn't deceive us.
He said those who are associated with it, they are all the APC who brought the party to this.
But Asiwaju didn't deceive us. He promised us he was going to start from where
Buhari didn't deceive us because they Asiwaju brought in Buhari as a placeholder for 8 years so that he can come in
and finish the job.
So they are the same people.
Do you understand? Now, so if people are, because the jostling to go and see Buhari in Kaduna, his house has suddenly become a mecca of sort. I mean, I don't
But
understand.
the first visit that they made to his house, he told them that anybody is free to join.
No, what I'm even saying, we should not even talk about Buhari in our nation again.
For now, truly. He said, and you complimented that.
Yeah.
Look, there are some people, they have this followership that these followers are emotional. Buhari is one of them. So that's why you see whether he.
Let me tell you one thing you don't know.
I've not landed.
Yes.
I've not landed.
Yeah.
Now I'm addressing that because it now looks as if Buhari has become a consultant of political.
But people are missing Buhari.
Yeah. Okay, that put aside. Now we have the Malami faction, and under CPC, we now have the Al-Makura faction in CPC, both of them. And the Al-Makura faction and Masari are
working with
Asiwaju. The Malami faction and the other guys are saying that no, we want a coalition.
We have not decided yet. Some are saying we are yet to decide.
We know that
they are tilted towards coalition. Yes,
those are where they are tilted to. Malami wants to contest for governorship in KB State and all that. So that one now I see CPC as they are now as a block. They are saying that Buhari. I wonder why they really are going to Buhari. Now, if Tinubu is continuing from where Buhari stopped, both of these elements, if the Malami faction or the Al-Makura faction, that means they are going to ditch Nigeria more into where we don't want to go. I don't know if you understand. Because their policies, their innovations, whatever, is still going to be as archaic as it was when Buhari was there. So I don't think we should follow those people who are saying Buhari, Buhari, Buhari. The new coalition that is forming, we want to see sincerity. We want to see some fresh blood added to it. We want to see a change from the past that has brought us into this terrible present that we are, not knowing where we are going in the future.
All right. No matter how you look at it, Philip, Buhari, like I said earlier, has some very organic followers. And the democracy election in particular is a game of numbers. And anybody, coalition or the current incumbent, they are going to appeal to his base so they can get the support of his voters. So this kind of division, some saying they are undecided, and there's some saying they are with Asiwaju. Why the North, as particularly the NCF, are telling us that you are going to hear from us in the next few months? I think they are even having a meeting on the May 20th in Kaduna, right?
21st.
Is it 21st or 20th?
20th and 21st.
20th and 21st, so in Kaduna. So where they are still going to come up with certain decisions and evaluation of how far these governments have performed. What is the spate that is expected of their movement? Is it to be all support Asiwaju or towards the coalition, bearing in mind for whatever he was trying to talk about?
You see, it is obvious that during the times of Buhari as a president, he never knew anything. I am not aware. That was his language he had. Buhari is not aware that the CPC...
Most of his second tenure,
yes, he's not aware.
The first tenure were not exactly like that. He was sick for
he was always aware. So when he decided to remain in this country, he's never aware of anything that happened. I can tell you for free that Buhari is never aware
whether his followers are going this way or that way.
But from the body language of the Northerners, I can, when you made the statement, are they pretending to be with us? So are you those who claim to be with him?
Yes.
Or they are sincere? For me, I wouldn't, you can't read the mind of a man, but I don't see sincerity in those who are saying at the moment that come rain son, they are with Tinubu in APC. But they have a leader who is Buhari, who is never aware of anything, and all of them are going to him. I think at the end of the day, Buhari will make pronouncement. Don't forget, Buhari was not totally in support of Asiwaju towards his end of his tenure. He never came out to say that Asiwaju was the person that was harm. He was, in fact, he was harm priest.
Yeah.
So if you take your mind back to that scenario, you will know that this Buhari bloc, the CPC, will go one direction. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, Buhari will speak. And like you said, the organic follower will follow him. And some people will make him to speak the language they wanted to speak. And I think those people are those who are undecided at the moment, who say that, well, we are thinking about coalition, we have not decided. Those people, they are the ones that speak through Buhari. Yeah. And if they speak, even those who are saying that, we are with Asiwaju, APC will stand. And you can't even trust those people. Well, who are these people that are saying that they are with Asiwaju? These are the people who have gotten an appointment from the present government. They are the only people in the CPC that are making that statement. All other persons are with the other side. So for me, I want to believe that they are not sincere.
All right. We talked about El-Rufai slightly before, but let's look at it. Babachir, made some statements regarding, the incumbent, the APC government, trying to suffocate or sabotage the coalition effort going on, whether with Atiku or with El-Rufai or with anything opposition. Do you think those statements have some validity?
No. You also will know that Babachir is a politician that is trying to raise up his head after what happened to him during Buhari's era. You know, Babachir was one of the most bosom friend of Buhari, and he was implicated in this Northeast contract.
Clearing of weed.
Yes.
And he resigned.
And he resigned. And he brought Boss Mustafa, who is quite close to him. So in this dispensation, you just find out that he's trying to raise up his head.
But he was very vocal in the last election, though, where he insisted that APC was going to lose for feeding a Muslim ticket. That was where he uncalled.
Yeah, but you know, number one, Babachir was former Speaker of the House. Dogara.
They were in that line.
They were in that line because some of them were thinking.
They were penciling themselves for the position of VP.
Especially Dogara, that was going to be the vice president, you know, and they took the part of religion to try to air their voice. So Dogara somehow, some way, found his way back to Asiwaju, thinking, I had to pencil him down for an ambassadorial position. I don't know how true that is, but Babachir didn't find his way back, and maybe because he feels that they were of the CPC that negotiated this coalition, that he should have gotten something much better. So now his statements are going to be tilted towards his feelings.
It's animosity that is existing.
Exactly. So that's why I say making those statements, and he's going to look for where it's going to benefit him, since he didn't get enough, or he doesn't have a voice in this Tinubu side.
Okay, Philip, will you toe exactly that line, or you think there is credence to what Babachir is saying, at least some element of it?
I think there's credence. You know, we have to take our mind back. If you remember, Asiwaju presidency today, Babachir was the person that went to purchase his nomination form. Babachir is one of the closest person to Asiwaju from the north, especially from the northeast. You know, Babachir was...
He was a member of the community, the research.
The caucus.
Yes.
You know, he was very vocal for Asiwaju until the Muslim ticket. Yes. I don't want to believe that it's because he do not have enough from the system. You know, even the one that he was, the scandal that came during his reign as the SGF, up to this very moment, they could not substantiate anything.
He was not being tried.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not.
He has not been convicted. There's no way. He's still.
There's no conviction.
So for me, Babachir said a lot of things that we must take into cognizance. He said there's fear in the presidency. There's jittery. That if they were not jittery, they wouldn't have been acting the way they are acting.
They are spending so much time on El-Rufai.
Exactly.
Any little thing El-Rufai said, they respond.
To lay credit to what Babachir said is, when you remember the moment El-Rufai moved into SDP, Igbokwe, one of the foot soldier
lieutenant of
Asiwaju came out to start. Tinubu owns SDP. If Tinubu owns SDP, it wouldn't be proper for you to keep quiet so that they will fall into the trap.
Exactly.
Why are they sounding their alarm? So Babachir said,
he forgot that SDP is the oldest party in Nigeria, the party that Abiola himself used.
Babachir said in his statement that, look, the president is not resting at all to ensure that every political party is sabotaged, especially this coalition, because they see that if there's a formidable force, they are in trouble, because they are no longer in there to the people. The suffering is obvious everywhere. So I want to, I see some credence of what he's saying. I don't want to discard it all.
Okay, the other day we were talking about some signposts, door-to-door signposts that were there, that were hung along a port road, and in many cities actually, that they didn't need to do that. What Asiwaju should have relied on was simply his performance. His performance over 4 years to do door-to-door, campaign for him. People are going to check the standard of living as at 2023 and the standard of living today and hopefully in 2027. And so the standard of living has knocked on our door. You don't need to do any door-to-door campaign. Why is the presidency, kind of chiming into election mood too early rather than concentrating in performance and facing developmental challenges that is facing Nigeria?
Okay, we talked about those signages that have been put up now. They've been put up by an ally of the president, that's Tompolo, you know, and he's sponsoring that. And I think I took a swipe at it that Tompolo should think about developing the people from the Niger Delta through education, giving of scholarship, infrastructures in their respective riverine area, from what is getting as a result of protection of Nigerian pipeline to his company. Is it Tantiti or something like that? Tantita, exactly. Now, if you don't have anything that you're doing, every other thing goes. You see, if your focus, you have a focus of where you are going, you don't look at what is by the side. If the presidency or the executive have what is going for them, I don't think right now, I don't know, but I don't think right now that OT is trying to campaign. I don't think OT is trying to campaign. OT is
facing development.
On development.
Outside politics of LP and all that,
Do you understand?
I think Oti's second tenure is going to be...
It's guaranteed.
Yes, it's almost
Whether
guaranteed.
he comes through a party called GOAT...
Called OT, even though the name of his party is OT.
Do you understand? He will win the place and...
So, Philip, what voice will you lend? I mean, we are all Nigerians, and we want the Nigerian state to be a place that we look up to. We want Nigeria as a nation to be a country that works for everybody, at least to some degree. We have 2 years to election. If opposition, El-Rufai, they are running here and there to put themselves together, because there's no formidable single party today that can stand APC. Why don't APC, that people are even running to their house, you know, PDP governors moving into their house, why don't they concentrate on governance?
You know, you said it in one of our shows that, look, APCs, you're surprised that instead of APC to concentrate on governance,
yes,
they are putting all their energies into political campaigns. You know, they are busy wooing governors that want on other ideologies
to come.
to come to their party, and they are celebrating them instead of celebrating project. I think APC they are channeling their energy towards the wrong channel, and it's not going to help them. Because you see, those of us who come from the riverine area, you know, when a boat is overloaded, 2 things happen. It's either the boat capsized or the boat lost its bearing. And if the boat capsized, you cannot get everything that is inside the boat. You can't get everything. You can't salvage everything. So the thing is this. If the APC know what is good for them, they should concentrate on governance.
Rather than
put all their energy to politics.
Yeah.
This is not time for politics, like you said.
Yeah.
You see, they are the party in power. They should perform so that let their performance knock the doors of the masses.
People,
Let the opposition do the running around to put themselves together to challenge them. Not them, not the other way around. They are the one running around to put themselves together to challenge the opposition, as if they are not the one in power. And I don't understand what
you talked about the governors moving. I wanted to ask you.
I think it's a lack of performance. It's clear. You know, and also taking Nigerians for granted. And you know, in the 16 years of PDP, even while they were losing, they were thinking, don't worry, we'll flog this. Don't ever take people for granted. Say, we have them captured. It's like, look at Nigeria.
PDP planned to rule Nigeria for 50 years.
60 years.
60 years.
He said before anybody will smell 60 years. The same thing APC are doing right now. And I can tell you from what I see, APC is going to, dismantling of APC is going to start within APC. What we are seeing in PDP right now is small because, you see, you can't just carry everybody along. And carrying everybody
along. Politically along, not by performance, ideology, just politics.
Already, they should test with what is happening in APC in Delta. Oborevwori wants an automatic ticket. They say, no, you met us here. We'll go to the election.
No, that brings us to this. One of Oborevwori's aides, you know, is really against him. He released a video telling him that I'm not going to go with you to APC. My village is facing insecurity. Our people are being killed. Blah 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 blah. That level of insubordination, even throwing him in trouble. That
no, first of all, he's no longer his boss because first of all resigned from the party and said that this is a coup against Deltans,
Yes.
and that they are taking Deltans for granted, that they will not go with him. You know, this is not the best way to go. This is not the best move. He stated what is in the obvious. You see, you can come and dance from the outside. I don't know if you ever heard of a king that danced naked. The king, they advised him.
Is the king from your village?
That's how these guys are going to dance naked, because in their imagination, the apparel existed, but in real life, the apparel didn't exist. So the tailor handed over the garment to the king, and the king received the garment imaginarily.
Yeah.
So he went on, wore it imaginarily.
And he got naked.
And as he was coming, everybody was pounding, oh, King live forever, King live forever. He took a small boy to tell the father, I said, Father, the king's PPE is outside. That's when the king knew that. I hope
Because
that
they were looking for impossible.
They were looking for impossible.
Yeah.
And I hope that won't be APC story.
Okay, this kind of behavior, this kind of feeling cannot only be found in this aid. Many Deltans really are very reluctant in going to register with APC. Even those that decamped, with the governor, they are very reluctant putting their names down with APC. This kind of neither here nor there. What is it going to spell for them by the time this coalition gets really stronghold in all the states? Do you think this PDPC arrangement might anger a lot of people, and the coalition will get stronger?
You see, what those who are in power today don't realize, especially those of them in APC or those who are crossing to APC, is that the people they call their followers, they are adult in the first place before they are their follower. These are people who have their own mind. You know that in politics, we may say there are no permanent enemies, that the only thing that is permanent is interest. But don't forget, the real enmity is created from politics. Especially in Delta State, the divide line is clearly drawn in the last election between APC, Labour, and PDP. But the line is clearer between the APC and the PDP.
Yeah.
And these people, you are telling to go to APC now, some of them fought physically. Some of them sustained injury. Some of them lost relations.
Some don't even greet their friends.
Exactly. Some of them severe relationship with their brothers and sisters because of you. But now that you have found favor in APC, you are telling them to forget whatever that has happened to them between their brothers who are in APC or in PDP or whatever, that they should now come together. We are now one. How is it going to happen? That's why I said they fail to realize that these people are adult in the first place before they become your followers. They have taken steps for your interest, but when you want to take your step, you do not consider their interest. You see, it's like I said, it's going to spread doom. Yesterday we spoke on this, and I read a comment from somebody who's in Warri. He said, forget those two. He said, people are very angry. He said, I live in Warri here. I know what is going on. Yeah. But how do you expect me, an adult, to just wake up because somebody said I should go and register in APC when I do not agree with the ideology and the principle of APC? I should leave my umbrella to go and carry broom. If rain is falling, can the broom cover me?
Can you sweep the floor?
Until the rain starts, we'll check.
Can you sweep the rain away?
Okay, let's move a little bit to Peter Obi in some form. The late Farotimi had an interview, and he said clearly that he would support Peter Obi once again. That if the people of ballot remains essentially as they were in 2023, that he is going to support Peter Obi because he's a lot better than all of them. Do you think a lot of Nigerians will toe that line if Peter Obi finds his name on ballot again?
Yes. And there are empirical explanation to this. You can see how, Philip spoke about how people would tell you. They won't just say I'm obedient. They will say, I am unapologetically obedient. and they are everywhere. And let me tell you something. Yunus Atanko said something. He said, Obi is the only person that galvanizes the North and the South together at the moment. There's something El-Rufai son, the one that is in House of Reps, said. Yeah. He said, what we were told about Obi is not
true.
Not true. Do you understand?
There is a better person.
There is a better person. And if these voices are coming from
far north and from different places,
everywhere, east, west, I've seen Yoruba people that are unapologetically obedient. I can tell you the truth. Yes,
the Dele we are talking about is a Yoruba man. Yes.
Do you understand? Don't go to South.
No.
Don't near South.
There's nowhere to enter South.
Do you understand? Don't near South on Obi's matter. In fact, those that rode on the back of obedient to become senators and House of Rep member that have now deserted, they are going to hear it hot. Yes. In fact, they will not hear it hot, they will be removed. All the men, Neda, Imaswe, and all that. If Obi finds himself on a ballot or on a platform,
okay,
what we saw in 2023 is going to be child's play.
Okay, Philip, let me come to you on there is an exception line that is gentle in Dele Farotimi's statement. Maybe say, provided Obi did not associate with certain, class of persons. Well, I don't know what that kind of association of certain class of persons might mean and who he might be referring to precisely. Sometimes in our personal opinion, we might just say, oh, this person is not good, this person is not this person is not that. But at the end of the day, would you support Obi to be wise? To take everything, there's nobody that is devil. To take any coalition and people that will give you the opportunity, because no matter how lofty your ideas are, without power, you can't execute them. And when people say, we can work with you, and that will lead you certainly to where you're going, wouldn't it be wiser for Obi to spread his net wide? Don't listen to those who can't even win their polling unit, telling you not to go into a coalition with people who can help you win states and defend the votes for you. Because one thing is to be voted with in that election. Another thing is to stand and ensure that that vote counts. What would you tell Obi?
You've just said it all. Obi is not going to be president of only the good Nigerians.
No.
Jesus Christ said, I do not come for the sake of the righteous, but for the sake of the sinners. So, for Dele Farotimi to say that Obi should associate with some persons and not associate with other person, I totally disagree with him. That's not the way to go. The way to go is that, like you said, you took the word out of my mouth. No matter how brilliant your idea is, no matter how worthy you are, if you are not in power, you cannot impact your nation, irrespective of your being a billionaire. Because for your effect to be felt in the nation is for you sitting at the decision table, taking decisions that affect the country. Yes. So if Obi is wise, in fact, he needs this more than any other person. He needs the coalition more than any other person, irrespective of who is the coalition, irrespective of who is midwifing the coalition. So long as the coalition will feature him as a candidate, that is what he needs to bring this his goodness to fruition to the country. If he doesn't do that, if he listens to some segment, Obi cannot win in the Southwest. Take it or leave it. The Yoruba man remains the Yoruba man. Where is Wole Soyinka today? Wole Soyinka in all from the military era till before now, there's no government that he had not spoken.
Maybe he's getting old.
Because it's a Yoruba man that's on the seat, on the driver's seat, he suddenly went dumb.
But it could also be that he's getting old.
Whatever it is. So Dele Farotimi, can he deliver a state to Obi? Can he guarantee Obi? I don't know what.
No, he can come to television to speak English.
And how would that help Obi to become president?
No, let me give you this. Yes. There is no written Buba Galadima challenged all Nigerians. Yes. If you were there when it was agreed that there will be power rotation to the south and power rotation to the north, that it should come forward. Why that is there is no written arrangement. But there is this unwritten, do I call it emotion or knowledge, that 2031 presidency will go certainly to the north. This appears to be Obi's most viable chance given all we know, would you ask to take, like Philip has said, to take any coalition, provided he will be fielded, that will take him there?
Yes, I will advise him. And I will also support Daily Farotimi said he should not work with some certain person. The sun shines on the wicked and on the just.
And that you are wicked and the just. Our own are by your own, you are not even God.
Exactly. Do you understand?
And he's going to be president of the wicked and the just.
It's going to be wicked for armed robbers, everybody. Do you understand? That's one. Two, Obi bringing everybody together. What if they have repented? And now they want to do what is right. I have known people, they did what was wrong.
What do they call it in the Bible? That when you sin and you want to, what is the word?
Is it? No, all things are passed away.
No. You
okay, redemption.
No, Catholic do is a lot.
Purgatory.
No,
purgatory is when you die.
There's one they do.
I know this one, restitution.
Restitution. And they want to do
They may not be able to do the whole of it.
Philip, you are owing me, it's not for free.
Do you understand? For example, the El-Rufai we knew 2009 is not the El-Rufai we know today. Do you understand? He's older.
And let me put this in your words. In as much as people are saying, oh, El-Rufai is saying this thing because he didn't favor him. There are people that he didn't favor, but for the hatred they have for Obi or Atiku, they are still with Asiwaju.
Not only
they would rather die there where it is not favoring them than to support another person because of their hatred for that person.
And there are some people that didn't favor to, they went to sit down, their voice
like there was a decent voice we all queried from the north the other day. Somebody of that level saying there are killings in the north and south.
That had to.
Trying to whip up emotion, even while you are complaining that things are not working in the north. So if you complain things are not working, then the alternative to those things, you're already creating narratives that is going to disgruntle people. At the end of the day, people are ruled by hatred. But El-Rufai said, no matter where you are from, provided you can solve northern problem. Baba might say, no matter where you are from, provided you can solve northern problems. And I think those are the people we should listen to.
You see, let me tell you something we need in our leadership. Because don't forget, we have leadership on different strata in this country. The president just happened to be the overall president of the country. He doesn't rule Kebbi State. He doesn't rule Bayelsa State. We have governors. What we just need, like Philip used to say, one good man that gives a direction for everybody to follow. If we see a president of this country remove any member of his cabinet as a result of let's say, first of all, accusation or that he has done something wrong, I'm sure the governors in their states, they will sit up and do the same thing. So we need a president. That's what we need. That will be a good leader and provide good leadership in this country. And I've always said it. If this president, one of my major examples, cannot prosecute, is it Albeta? He has not done anything right.
All right. Just like he said about Babachir not prosecuted to date. Maybe they have not found.
But at least he was even removed.
Maybe he was. Yeah. Maybe
no, he resigned.
He resigned.
There were calls for him to resign.
Yeah, and he did.
He did.
We have seen more than worse in this.
And with the docility in Buhari's presidency, he could have remained if he wanted.
Yes, because there were a lot of them that also.
Buhari was not in control of anything, so
he couldn't come out from Aso Rock. How can it be?
All right, let's go towards security issues slightly. This ex-NAF group captain that was talking about that there are no real, where there might be similarity, but there is a lot difference between Boko Haram, attempt to disarm Boko Haram, maybe
amnesty.
Yeah, maybe create an amnesty kind of, and for what's happened in the Niger Delta. That is a completely different thing entirely. Do you even in the first place subscribe to a kind of amnesty for Boko Haram, whose objectives we do not clearly No.
That are not defined.
Yeah, that are not defined. I mean, why will you grant amnesty to terrorists and you keep petty thieves in the jail? So are you telling people to upgrade so they can get amnesty?
But also, let's not forget that they were giving amnesty at a point, and it didn't work. And we have also seen those that were given amnesty go back into the crimes they were committing. And you already said it all. You said a man that you don't know what he's fighting for. What is he fighting for? Is it secession? What the Niger Delta youths or militants, as we used to call them, the men exactly were fighting for, was that they want to have a right to their
and there were oil spillages and their farms. They can't do fishing anymore. They can't farm. They can't do that. And what is it called? The oil companies that were taking money and dilapidating their place.
Of course, the problem is not solved totally in the Niger Delta. You know, among the Jaw and other ethnic.
But there's progress.
There's progress. But these guys,
what are they fighting for?
What are they fighting for? And as you say, we have seen those that you said they repented, that you try to rejig them and bring them back into the society. They've also caused a lot of things. I watched a story of a man in Kaduna that was kidnapped during the train. He said he met his assailant, one of them, in the mosque, and he saw him. He said when the guy saw him, the guy was shaking. And as he was shaking, when he finished mosque, he called him and told him to come. And they went somewhere, he ate with him, started asking him questions. He told him that he was not going to turn him over to the police or something. That why did he decide to
do things like that?
And he made his complaint, but that he has left. That he's no longer, he's not doing Okada riding. Do you understand? That one, nobody gave him amnesty. He decided to leave that one by himself. In fact, he said he took him to the finish station and bought fuel in his bike and he let him go. Those are the ones that have repented. What they should help us to. You know, religion has a lot of impact in humanity. Whatever religion, Christian, Muslim, whatever religion. From the mosque and the churches that we have all around the country. Of course, I know they are doing a lot, but we should do more until the conscience of the man is changed. These people will not change.
Okay, on a scale of priorities, which if we were to solve the problem, we say a scale of preference. Boko Haram almost just entirely a Northeast issue, and this insecurity, I don't want to name it after a tribe, but this insecurity pervading the entire nation, going to the bush to keep people, sacking villages, very remote hamlets and all that. How do you think, if you are to be in the position of, Asiwaju, for example, how do you scale them? Which one do you attend to most viciously? Issues of amnesty, will you ever put it in table for Boko Haram?
Well, they have said that there's no price too high to pay for peace story. But if I were to be in, the shoe of Asiwaju to fight this issue of insecurity, especially in the Northeast and the Northwest and North Central, that has, you see, part of our problem today that we say there's no food in this country is it's as a result of this insecurity that our farmers in the far north can't go to their farm. So for me, issue of amnesty shouldn't come to play at the moment. I think our security apparatus should be overhauled to do their job. You know, when we were growing up, there's something we used to, in Benin then, we used to know what they call forest guard. You know, those forest guard, they carry arm, but not as heavy as other
police.
Yes, but they feed the necessary security with information of what is happening in the forest. I think Tinubu should
and what happened to our forest guard?
I don't know.
You know, the forest guard, the work of the forest guard was to guard the forest, not against armed robbery.
To ensure there's no poaching on.
Exactly.
And they had harm against trees and animals. Yes.
There were some trees.
Conservationists.
Exactly. They were protected other acts, and all that, so that they will not hew them down.
In as much as that's where their job.
Yes.
If they, notice
anything
within the forest.
I think they are doing one thing now. Number one, there's a Coast Guard structure they're setting up right now Do you understand? I'm a very aware
That's
of that.
what coastal area.
They're for
most
coastal
likely.
area. They can as well set up forest gardens.
You see, there they go again. It's always at the coast because that's where the oil is. Their interest. And this coast guard will end up being the people who will be stealing the oil. So we are talking about where we can get food to eat. And they won't allow the farmer to farm. Rather, they will even sack them from their village, and burn their village down. You were talking about amnesty for Boko Haram.
Yeah.
The truth remains that this Boko Haram, most of them are not Nigerians. So how can you grant an amnesty to an invader? So that was when they got it wrong. When they said, they started it and
because they don't have interest in Nigeria.
Exactly. We even had that they even recruited some of them to the Nigerian army and they started causing havoc within the army because they weren't taking information out. See, I think what they need to do, the presidency, they need to do more of, information gathering. Because I think the military, the security apparatus today lack intelligence. I think they should reject the intelligence department. I think the NSA should do more. It's not just, in fact, this is the first time we saw NSA coming out to address nation. They are not seen. The SSS before now, you don't see them. My uncle were the people who started as NSO before they become SSS. You don't even know whether they are police.
You don't
they
even know
live
them.
among people.
Yeah.
You can't even know anything about them.
My cousin was NSO.
So, but today, you see,
he would almost deny he was.
They display themselves everywhere.
Yes.
How can they get
telling their friends when they have problems,
yes.
they to come and talk to them.
So I think they should go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, my cousin was NSO. That time you didn't even.
You don't know them.
You don't know them. We didn't even know.
I follow my uncle. We go to farm every weekend. The Benin. We will drive to and they gather information from the village and everywhere. But
all right, let's move a little bit to what we know. A person of Adesina, the current AfDB chairman, that is Adesina. He came out with some data and some statements saying Nigeria really, we have moved so backward that we were even better off, we're earning more even before independence than now. And Onanuga replied him, that is spokesperson of an information and strategy of Stewaju. So he replied him that the statement, he didn't have a deep knowledge of Nigerian economy. There are some facts in what Onanuga said, no doubt, but even in those facts, this economy can't even stand it because he was challenging the data that Femi Adesina brought out because we're using per capita. You understand that our per capita is degrading, okay? Now, those per capita not being able to expose certain things. For example, he talked about issues of wealth distribution. Per capita may not show it. The gap between the rich and the poor. Per capita may not show it. So those things that Onanuga was using to challenge Adesina, that this data you are releasing to the public, it is not a good representation of what is happening. Now, let's go to what Onanuga is talking about. The inequality. Yes, let's say Adesina, the data you brought out, it can deceive people because per capita income cannot tell us how much you are richer than me this year and how that gap has increased. But the gap between the rich and the poor, let's get to Onanuga's table. Is it getting better in Nigeria or getting worse?
Do you need a prophet for so many things? The cost of living right now is no more difficult than what it used to be. When he talked about in the 60s and the 70s, people could live better than what they are living now. People were paid to go to school. They were given scholarship. They were scholarship board. They were fed in their hostels with meal ticket, 3 meal tickets in a day. I mean, we don't need. There are so many things we don't need per capita. Do you understand? Do you understand? That's become too technical. Do you understand? Look between you and I right now, how life has become for so many people. People. I mean, I was talking the other day that when we're growing up in Benin, I mean, everybody went to Edo College or Immaculate Conception, or do you understand? And we were all okay. Do you understand? And all that. But now, to get education, you have to pay through your nose.
All right, Philip, because of our time, let me take you another area he talked about that per capita income, can max those areas. For example, things like the informal sector, that are not captured into the informal sector. And he talked about, do you think the life and, at subsistence level of farming and things like that, do you think their life has also improved?
You see, the problem with this government is that they are always against the truth. I think Onanuga, in speaking against Adesina, he said he really had figures like Peter Obi without fast. But again, these people travel abroad now and then, and to say that they are copying from them, those people, they live with figures. They don't work without data. This man is telling you that look at the data. You cannot get it right without data. I am telling the man that the fact is bringing that does not, match with the reality of ground. How?
Onanuga has become better in economics than
Onanuga. He forget. He said Adesina. I'm surprised. He said Adesina does not have the knowledge of Nigerian economy. You forget that Adesina was the minister of agri under Jonathan. And he did very well.
Rice was 9,000.
He was first of all a minister in Rwanda of Kenya.
Yes, and they brought him
where he was seconded to Nigeria.
And the price food were available. Price of rice was 9,000 all through Jonathan's tenure.
For 50 kg.
Yeah, for 50 kg. For 50 kg.
Because the man was working with data, he was able to manage the agricultural sector. And you are telling us that the man doesn't know. He said the truth remains that once anybody is coming with data, facts and figure to challenge their incompetency, the next thing they say is that they attack the person to say that he's bringing figure that does not match with reality.
Okay, quickly, we just heard that our president has banned the procurement of and use of foreign goods where local goods can serve the same purpose. This is not a brainer. I mean, is it coming too late? That's number one question. Be very, very brief. And two, would they even abide by it? Because let me ask you, when they want to buy a car, now for example, would they leave Benz,
Toyota,
and buy maybe not or Innocent or any of those local?
Okay, so those are the things we don't understand. They normally take the leg they're supposed to take first. They take it last. Do you understand? And we normally also say you don't pull the plug off things like that. If we can produce this mug in this country for 10 naira and we can import mug from China for 2 naira, which one are you going to prefer? You see, so most of the things they do, they take it either just abruptly or so that we can walk towards it. There are things you need to increase in. You need to increase in power.
Being procured into this country. Can't Nigerian doctors treat Nigerians? We should start from that.
Including
the president. Is that not what we can procure in Nigeria?
Off the mic.
Off the mic. Time is against us.
The interlock they are talking
Time
about.
is against
the
us.
cement we produce. The sand we have here.
So,
the labor we have.
So time is against us. It also goes to what we are talking about, the kind of projects we do. There's nothing bad about bridges. There's nothing bad about flyover. But when you're creating a flyover for bush to bush, when the people are hungry, when the unemployment rate is very, very high, your priorities might not have been very right. You understand? Because we talked about how to have a long-term solution and a short-term solution. That is why some of your investment has to be in the capital, why some have to be in the personnel who are going to operate those capitals. But let's do something that was really funny when I heard of it, that the beggars in Abuja has taken Wike to court. They didn't even call them beggars. They tried to call them maybe the underserved in the society, that they have taken the minister of
the scavengers and
the scavengers, the beggars, other group. What could be their? I mean, could there be their prayers, Philip?
You see, when I saw it, I was really taken aback. Sometimes it baffles me the way the Nigerian lawyers works. You said the scavengers and the beggars are taking Wike to court. Where is their address? Where do they live? You call them beggars. You call them scavengers. And for you to institute an action, the plaintiff must have a known address. So for me, I don't know what their prayer will look like, if you ask me. Because in the first place, they don't have what it takes to institute an action. But some persons want to make noise or make out of it, and they are saying scavengers and beggars. Who are the scavengers and beggars? What are their names? What is their address? Where do they live? What is their locus? What are they suing for?
Exactly, that's the question. What could they be suing for? The time is not again. It's not with us again to get into that details. I think I'm going to thank you guys at this point for coming around and being here for almost an hour now. So Kingsley, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Philip, thank you so very much. And our viewers, thank you so very much for hanging around. And this is Matters Arising. Until next time, stay blessed.